Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You see what I mean by cowardice, specifically GOP cowardice? I just cannot align myself with these rhino clowns. It's like I'm always saying with these Mitch McConnell clowns, they care more about what the legacy left-wing mainstream media is writing about them. They care more about tiptoeing around sensitive topics to avoid confrontation and avoid controversy, rather than doing the right thing and standing by their people. I find it morally reprehensible. I find it pathetic. This is everything wrong with the GOP. It's why you can't have nice things. It's why Republicans are losing. Let me continue to make that point. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, these Democrat clowns keep saying that, well, if you watch Tucker Carlson's segment, if you watch the clips, then you can very clearly see that it was in fact a violent insurrection. They're actually making that argument, when the reality is quite the opposite. Anybody who is looking at this newly presented evidence, honestly, is coming to a similar conclusion, that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, the mainstream media, lied. They lied to slander an entire group of people. They crafted a narrative which they used to politically persecute American citizens who support Donald Trump, and of course they used it to persecute and impeach Donald Trump himself. And they did it all in such a dishonest and corrupt manner. You would expect Republicans to come to that conclusion and to understand what they're up against. Yet this is what you get. This is your Christmas gift from Mitch McConnell.
With the Capitol Police's very serious concerns about the release of this footage, was it a mistake by Speaker McCarthy to give access to Tucker Carlson of this security footage?
My concern is how it was depicted, which is a different issue. Clearly, the chief of the Capitol Police, in my view, correctly describes what most of us witnessed firsthand on January 6th. So that's my reaction to it. It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
If that's the case, following up on what Manu said, Tucker Carlson has already teased another round of videos that are going to be released today. I understand that you're upset with the way that Fox is depicting it, but he's been forecasting this for months, asking for this access to this footage to have a presentation just like this. Was it a mistake for the speaker to hand that?
You guys know I have many faults, but one of them is not answering the question in a way that I don't want to answer it.
This guy is just awful. This is the leader of the Republican Senate. This is one of the most powerful individuals supposedly representing you and your interest. And yet all these rhino clowns ever seem to do is play directly into Nancy Pelosi's hand. Whose side are you on? And not even necessarily from a partisan perspective. If the Democrat narrative was accurate, I'd understand it. If Donald Trump was actually some evil figure who orchestrated a plot to overthrow the US government and led an armed insurrection that was totally organized and put American democracy in jeopardy, if he actually did that, it'd be a different conversation. But as we know, he didn't. We know that the Democrats lied, and we have absolute, irrefutable evidence that their narrative was complete dog water. Yet despite everything, after everything, Mitch, the expletive, still continues to cower. And I don't know if it's cowardice or if he's just a deep state goon who would rather support the dishonest left-wing narrative and agenda than stand by and support his own voters who vote and support Donald Trump. I don't know which option it is, but either way, it leads to the same conclusion. Mitch McConnell's a real Republican, calling to censor Tucker Carlson. It's actually unbelievable, or it would be unbelievable if it wasn't so believable and unsurprising. The Republican Party is never going to be able to win and beat the establishment, because the sad reality is the Republican Party is led by establishment shills. It's like I always say, Republican voters in every election cycle aren't just battling the DNC, they're battling the DNC and the RNC. There's an actual contempt. People like Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger, Dan Crenshaw, the Cheneys, the Bushes, the same names I always name, hold actual contempt for Republican voters. You should not be in office if you refuse to stand by your voters in the most important, crucial times to defend them against absolutely dishonest, disingenuous, disgusting, slanderous political narratives and persecution campaigns. I mean, you heard what Mitch McConnell said, right? Well, let's compare and contrast. Which side do you appreciate more? Mitch McConnell's cowardly response, calling to censor Tucker Carlson, or the Donald Trump approach? Great job by Tucker Carlson tonight. The unselect committee of political hacks and thugs has been totally discredited. They knowingly refuse to show the videos that mattered. They should be tried for fraud and treason, and those imprisoned and being persecuted should be exonerated and released now. I think that's the appropriate response. Democrats withheld evidence and misrepresented evidence, totally politicized the entire process, and you side with them. You're pathetic. I mean, at the very, very least, take the Kevin McCarthy path. At the very least, just be neutral.
Because of the footage that you gave Tucker Carlson last night, he went on and said this was a mostly peaceful chaos, as he said. He downplayed Brian Sicknick's death, said it was not related to January 6th, said this was not an insurrection. Do you regret giving him this footage so he could whitewash the events of that day?
No, I said at the very beginning, transparency. And so what I wanted to produce for everybody is exactly what I said, that people could actually look at it and see what's gone on that day. Look, each person can come up with their own conclusion, but what I just wanted to make sure is I had transparency.
Do you believe
because I know in CNN, I mean, I had here where you guys actually broke where we were. This was a secret location, Fort McLaren. I don't know if you got concerned by that. I don't even know from point of view of security if we could ever be taken there again. But when you broke that at CNN, that was a real concern to a lot of people. I had a real concern also when I wanted to make sure transparency. Look, so what I tried to do is be able to release the information, which we'll do to everybody. I worked with the Capitol Police. I asked them for any clips on the way that they had concern with the security level. Only one of the clips did, and we were able to change that. An interesting thing the Capitol Police told us when we went through this is that January 6th never asked them about that, the security.
Basic transparency, and people can come to their own conclusions. And you know what, Mitch McConnell, you can come to your own conclusion. And if your conclusion is standing by Nancy Pelosi's sham committee, calling for the censoring of Tucker Carlson, and throwing the Republican voter base under a bus, then you know what, so be it. Mitch McConnell once again shows his true colors. He shows who he is. And if this guy manages to squeak by the next election, well then at that point, then I guess Republican voters deserve to continue losing general elections. At that point, it's borderline Stockholm Syndrome, but I have a feeling that Mitch McConnell's probably not even going to run for re-election. And I think he just doesn't care anymore, and he's just going full establishment, full rhino. He'd rather do Nancy Pelosi's bidding than represent the politically persecuted of his own party. It's just shameful. That's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys feel like joining us here. Of course, you know, like I always say, we'd love to have you at the Liberal Hive Mind. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.